Hey everyone, today's our topic is the types of software, purpose and characteristics, basic concepts of OS. Firstly, what's a software? Software, also called a computer program or simply a program, is a series of instructions that tells the hardware of a computer to do. For example, some instructions direct the computer to allow you to import the data from the keyboard stored on memory. Other instructions cause data stored in memory to be used in calculations such as adding a series of numbers or to obtain a total. Before a computer can perform or execute a program, the instructions in the program must be loaded in the memory of the computer. Usually, they loaded into memory from storage, like a hard disk. When you purchase a program, you will receive one more and the CD-ROM or the single DVD-ROM on which the software is stored. To use the software, you often need to install the software of the computer's hard disk. Sometimes a program can be loaded in memory directly from CD-ROM and or DVD-ROM so that you do not have install it of the hard disk to use it. And when you buy a computer, it usually has some software already installed in this hard disk. Thus, you can use a computer as and receive it. Software is its key to provide use computers with the correct software, and the computer can become valuable too. The second is what the system software. System software is consists of the programs that control the operations of the computer and its devices. Functions that system software performs include starting up the computer, firstly opening, executing, running applications, storing, retrieving and copying files, formatting disks, reducing the file sizes, and the backing up the concepts of the hard disk. Accordingly, you can see the system software will handle the smooth running of the components of the computer as well as providing general functionality for other programs to use tool to speed up the computer, tools to develop the new software and the programs to keep you safe the attract. And so what is the operating systems? The operating system contains instructions that coordinate all the achievements of hardware devices of your computer. It also contains instructions that allow you to run any application software. One may define the operating system. It's an interface between a user and all computer resources. When you start a computer, the operating system is loaded or copied into memory from a computer hard disk. It remains in memory while the computer is soon sunning and allows to you communicate with the computer and other software. A computer component of the computer system because it sets standards for the application programs that run it. All programs must talk to the OS operating systems, and operating system has two types of. First is a single user OS operating system, a type of OS which allows only one user at a time. There can be single or OS either as a single task or single user multitask. The single user single task operating system has to deal with only one person at a time running only one application at a time. MS-DOS, in the example, it for a single task operating system. Think of the operating system of your personal computer. It's designed mainly with one user in mind, but that only user. You can deal with many applications running at the same time. You may word process a document with the word processing applications like MS Word while listening to music played in the Windows Media Player in parallel. Or you might be answering the school assignments while searching more facts on the internet while a suitable video is being downloaded. This type of OS is a single user multitask OS. An example such as OS in Windows 95, and the second is a multi-user of operating system. In some situations, we need to share two single computer among few users. So the OS operating system should be a multi-user, where more than one user is loaded onto the computer and uses to at the same time. These multi-users may work if the removed desktop contains. Further, there are different users maybe need to run different applications at the same time. So all the OS operating system must support multitask facility as well. Absolutely, the computer should be powered one. Each user draws one big power and the computer is shared way. This type of multi-user multitask OS have managed some tasks and the listed below. Each user logged on the system their workspace and so on. Allocate resources for the jobs they want to run. Third, they keep logs of the how much processing time and the resources by the use. Fourth is to work out the most efficient use of computer processing cycles. Mentally security. And the following are some examples, such as the first Windows HP or Windows 7 or 8, and Unix, Linux, and the third is Ubuntu, CentOS, Fedora, etc. And the next is a desktop operating system, VC, server operating system. The operating system can also be categorized of desktop OS and service OS, depending on whether the OS is installed in a desktop computer or a servers. For example, the latest versions of the Windows OS family can be categorized as follows: desktop OS, it's a Windows HP, Windows 7, Windows 8, and the server OS, it's a Windows 2200 server, Windows 2005 server, Windows 2008 server. As most of you are using desktop personal computers, following web articles extracted in order to give you an overview on the different operating system may you use. And so next is operating systems in your PK desktop. PK following is not expanded from the web reading. The OS and the given for the reader for additional files for your OS premium of professional. So the decision won't to be hard. If you don't to know why you will want to get professional then home premium, you will do the job nicely. Home premium will be right fit almost as the home users. And so second is utility software. Utility software or utility programs are some small programs which performs specific tasks, usually related to managing a computer, its devices, or its programs. Most operating systems include several utility programs. Also, it can be by a standalone software that offer improvements over the ones supplied with the OS. Following are some specific tasks by commonly used utility programs. First is viewing files, second compressing files, third diagnosing problems, for scanning disks, fifth is defarming disks, sixth installing software, seventh it's breaking files and the disks, and eighth checking for viruses, and ninth displaying screen savers. And the next is library programs. The library programs are a collection of some pre-written codes or resources that are used to develop other programs. For example, you might have noticed that all Microsoft programs look like the same or have the same look and feel in the interface throughout in application difference. The reason for this consistent look is the using of graphical user interface libraries when developing different applications by the Microsoft. Another classical example is a computer game development often by and use a pre-done graphical user interface libraries and develop the new games as they need to save and the cost entire development process. This will allow them to quickly develop the looking game that runs on to desired hardware. In Windows, you can often identify library programs by their extension. It's a dynamic link library. And another classical example is computer game developers often buy a user pre-done graphical user interface libraries and develop the new games as they need to save time and the cost entire development process. This will allow them to quickly develop a good looking game that runs off designed hardware. And so next is library programs, programming language translators. You are already aware that a program is a set of instructions written and performing a specific task. These instructions are just like English words. We call these programs who are written in programming languages that can be understood by human beings. These written programs are called the source codes. However, some programs run on the matching code that is executed directly on computer achievement. Matching code is not easily read by humans, and it is a long series of bits. Therefore, the source code of converted into matching code, which is called object program. This translation can be done the translator. Simply the translations translate source code into matching code. There are three approaches of the program translating. First, assembler, second, interpreter, and third is compiler. And the first is assembler. An assembler translator the symbolic code of programs of the assembly language into matching language instructions. And the symbolic language is translated the matching code in the ratio of the in-one symbolic instructions to matching code instructions. Such type of language are called low-level languages. Uh, the assembled programs translate the low-level language, the matching code. They translate the performed either manually or with a program called assembler. In hand assembly, the programmer uses the set of instructions supplied by the manufacturer, in this case the hexadecimal code of numerical instruction is researched from the code sheet. This procedure is tedious and the time consuming. Alternate solution is so it's the assemblers. The program called assembler, providing codes of mnemonics. This process fast and facilities of user developing the program speedily. And the second is interpreter. Interpreters also come in a group of translators. It helps the user execute the source of program with a few differences compared to compilers. The source programs is just like English statements in both interpreters and the compiler. The interpreters also generates object codes from the source program. Interpreter reads the program line by line. Wherever in compilers, the entire program is read by the compiler, which then generates the object codes. Interpret directly executes the program from the source code. Do this every time the source code should be inputted to the interpreter. In the other words, such as each line is converted into the object codes. It takes very less time and execution because it intermediate object code is generated. And the third is the compiler. Compilers are the translators which translate all instructions of the programs into matching codes, which can be used again and again. The source program is input to compiler. The object code is output for the secondary storage device. The entire program will be read by the compiler first and generates the object code. However, it interpreted each line is executed and the object code provided. M basic and is example of the interpreter. High-level language such as the C or C++ and the Java compilers are employed. The compiler displays the list of errors and the warning. Next is so application software. Recall the classification of software given in the figure. The accordingly means the second major of class software in the application software. Software consists of the programs designed to perform specific tasks of users. Software, also called a software application or a application, can be used for the following purpose, among others. The software package. Based on the purpose of the list above, the application software is threefold anomaly. It's first is general purpose, second is special purpose, third is bespoke purpose. Let us look each type of application software briefly. First is a special purpose application software. Special purpose application software is a software created for execution for a single specific task. Some examples are chess game, calculator, camera, application on your mobile phone, which allows you only to capture and share pictures, web browsers, and the media players, and the calendar problems. And so next is the evolution of operating systems, classification of operating systems, and including mobile devices. First is what is a Windows 7? Windows 7 is the latest public release version of Microsoft Windows. Windows 7 was related to manufacturing on July of 2008. Windows Servers 2008 Air 2 was related at the same time. It's designed by Windows Shell with a new taskbar. Windows 7 includes a number of new features such as the advanced in touch and the handwriting recordings, support for virtual hard disk, direct access, and the kernel improvements. And the version of Windows 7 starter version. It's the smallest version of the Windows 7. Actually, it is less waiting, less clicking, and less hassle connecting to network. Windows 7 starter combines the losses, the reliability, responsive with the familiarity of combination of Windows. And the next is Home Premium. Makes it easy to create a home network and share all of your favorite photos, videos, and music. And you can watch shows for free when and where you want with the Internet TV or the Windows Media Center. And the next is a professional version of Windows 7. It's a great choice for a home and for the business. Using Windows 7 Professional, you can run many Windows HP productivity programs in Windows HP mode and they recover data easily with automatically backups to your home and the business network. You can also connect to company networks effortlessly and the more securely with domain join. With all of the exciting enterprise features of the Windows Home Premium. And short is the ultimate version. It's the most versatile and powerful edition of Windows 7. It combines remarkable ease of use. It's enterprise features of Home Premium and the business capabilities of Professional, including the ability to run many Windows HP productivity programs in Windows HP mode. For added security, you can encrypt your data with BitLocker and the BitLocker to go. And for extra flexibility, you can work in a display of the 35 languages. It all with Windows 7 Ultimate. And the system requirements. Windows 7 requires the following computer hardware. There have two types. It's 32 bytes and the 64 types. In the next, so it's iOS. It's the iOS setup wizard guides you set up by the throughout the process for installing Windows. When you install and finish it, you are ready to log out the Windows iOS. Be aware that computer restarts several times during the installation process, depending on the type of installation you need to perform. Using upgrade or clean, you will have to start by the iOS setup wizard in different ways. You need the upgrade or clean install on the iOS version, or simply start your computer and insert the iOS installation DVD to start the iOS setup wizard. However, if you perform the clean install on a non-supported operating system or a blank hard disk, you need to start your computer by inserting the iOS installation DVD into the DVD drive, which starts the iOS setup wizard. A clean install requires you to select additional options as you step through the wizard, but the steps basically the same. And so next is Linux. Linux is a family of open source Unix-like operating systems based on the Linux kernel. An operating system kernel first released on the September 17th in 1991 by Linus Torvalds. Linux is typically packaged in the Linux distribution. Distributions includes the Linux kernel and the supporting system software, and the libraries, many which provide the GNU project. Many Linux and distributions use the word Linux in their name, but the Free Software Foundation use their name GNU Linux to emphasize the importance of GNU software, causing some conversionally. And the popular Linux description includes Debian, Fedora, and Ubuntu. Commercial distributions of include Red Hat Enterprise Linux and the SUSE Linux Enterprise Server. Desktop Linux distribution include the Windows system, such as the X11 or Wayland, and the desktop environments, such as the GNOME and the KDF Plasma. And so next is the conclusion. In conclusion, an operating system is a system software. It manages computer hardware, software resources, and provide common service for computer programs. Uh, and so time-sharing operating systems schedule tasks for efficient user system and may so include a coding software for cost allocations or professional time, mass storage, printing, and other resources. For hardware functions such as input and output memory allocations, the operating system acts as an intermediary between programs and the computer hardware. There are four types of operating system. First is user, second application, third operating system, and the fourth is hardware. And so, thanks for your attention. Goodbye.